You let me know. Can everybody hear me? Yeah. You good? We'll go from here. I think we're all right without the mic. So I haven't got a chance to meet everybody yet. So my name is Randy. I'm with the group that came out here from California. So just wonderful to get the opportunity to sit here and talk with you guys. I just want to, before I say anything, I want to tell you how much reverence I carry for the beautiful teachings that have been shared here so far, and everybody that's taken the time to teach and share with everybody. This community is really a collection of the experiences and the talent and the growth of each individual. Together we come together as a group and we all rise together. So to see everybody sharing what they've learned in their experiences as a group is just such a beautiful thing. And it takes a lot of bravery to get up here and do that. So just thank you for everybody that's done that so far. And it's beautiful seeing the teachings come from different perspectives. The beautiful wisdom endowed in the Guru Granth Sahib from the yogic lineages and all the different teachings that are coming from different places. And all lead up the same mountain to that oneness that Baji was talking about, right? And recognizing that each one of us at different stages in our life have different resonance with different types of teachings, right? So on our journey of growth, we find different practices and teachings that take us to the next step in life. So this time was intended to speak about that journey, about each one of us in our own journey and how the practicality of spirituality and growth weaves into our lives. How do we weave that into our lives? How have we woven that into our lives? So I want to share a little bit of story with myself, and I'd like to open a discussion so that we can have an open conversation of when you've run into those trials and tribulations, how have you integrated the practices and spirituality in your life? Maybe those inflection points. Let's learn from each other, create a dialogue, and share some stories about what's worked so we can learn and maybe pick little pieces that resonate that we can take back into our lives to continue our journey when we meet those obstacles or those opportunities for growth. So I'll start off with a story of my own, and then we'll open it up and we can share a little bit and learn about each other through each one of our experiences through the path of growth. And then in the end of this, I'd just like to not only just share the story with you, but lead you through some practices that have taken me through some of the more difficult times in my life. And just encourage you guys to remember that as we share, not only just the readings of the masters that have walked before us, but the experiences in this life that have taken us through those inflection points of growth and challenge, we grow together through the whole thing. So the idea is to make that community even tighter together by sharing our stories today. So a little bit about me. I was born in San Francisco, California. I'm adopted. So when I was born, 4 hours after I was born, I was adopted by this beautiful family that took me in and raised me in the Bay Area, and they're just the sweetest, most wonderful family that I could have ever asked for in my entire life. And the thing about it being adopted, it's kind of a blessing and a curse all in one. So in the back of my mind, there was this thing of worthiness, am I worthy to be here? So I was always overachieving through the whole thing. So senior class president and top of my class, and had to prove to the world that I was worthy of being here. And it was the outside world saw me as a very strong and accomplished individual, but deep down there was a story of me trying to prove that I was worthy of being here, right? And in the last few years, 4 years ago, I hired a private investigator to go find my birth parents. And I just wanted to say thank you. I'd spent my entire life building successful businesses and, proving to the world externally that I was successful and worthy of being here. But in the last, decade of my life, I realized that the real building needed to happen internally. It wasn't about the house or the cars or the business or anything else like that. It was about what was actually happening inside. So the deeper practices began to weave into my life. No longer building externally, but building internally, taking down the walls of the identity and everything else that was doing, and finding true happiness. And at a point of true happiness for me, I decided that it was really important for me to go say thank you. I got to a point where my heart began to open. I began to find self-love, and I began to realize the decision that my parents had given to me to have me and give me up to another family to be raised. And I just wanted to go say thank you. So I hired private investigators, and I went and found my birth parents, and I did exactly that. I found them and I said, thank you. And it changed my life in ways that I couldn't even imagine, the entire thing. So I'm a computer programmer. I started a software company about 24 years ago. I've been running that company for a really long time. Turns out that my birth father has a PhD in computer science, just like me. I come from entrepreneurs. I come from all of this amazing lineage that I've been living in my life, but I didn't know why or how. Turns out that my grandparents are Buddhist monks. So I have entrepreneurship and spirituality in my blood. And I just got this amazing perspective of who I am, where I come from, and the root of it, not only from nature, but also nurture through the whole thing. And so rewinding back to a story of spiritual practices and things that resonated with me in tough times. During COVID, my business experienced some very difficult times. I'm sure that everybody went through their own version of difficult things during COVID. I almost lost the business a couple of times. So when the pressure started to mount, the thought of the identity of owning a business, of being a homeowner, having anything at all, like I was on the precipice of basically losing everything. My meditation practice didn't work anymore. I couldn't sit. My mind was in so much chaos, fighting fires and trying to take care of everybody, that this identity of a business owner was actually kind of toxic because I had so much responsibility on top of me. And I had to find a practice that allowed me to step into the world and operate the whole thing. And one of the ones that I'd learned along the way was breath work. So I woke up every single morning, and the first thing that what I would do is essentially breathe and connect with my breath. I would take my nervous system and put energy into it with breath. I would take my brain and basically swing it from energy to stillness in this breath. And when I did this practice, I was able to move through an entire day, no matter what came. Whether it was the media saying horrible things about me or all sorts of different things happening. I was able to navigate it in peace, unattached. And through that, I went through an amazing process. I allowed the identity of the business owner, the identity of the homeowner, and all of the material wealth that I built to die. It was actually the only way that I was able to stay in that leadership. I had to let that identity fall away and just step into service and think, I'm here to take care of the people that work for me, the best that I can do for them, complete service for everybody. And if everything falls away, everything falls away. I had to let that part of me fall away, right? And in that, I would wake up and step into this breathwork practice, swing my nervous system, which was in constant fight or flight, back into stasis. And then I could return back to the more subtle practices of meditation and mantra. But in the very difficult times, I needed an extra tool to bring me back into stability so that I could go into the more subtle practices. And I want to share that with you later today. But before we do that, I want to start a dialogue and let our food digest from lunch as well. So you guys are all deep and amazing practitioners. And I'm very curious. I want to know, what are some of the times in your life when you've run up to difficulty in the practice? And what did you lean into? Surabjit, we talked about it today. We talked about self-love in the breakout session and other things like that. What are the practices that you found in yourself that took you past that little roadblock in your life? And who has the willingness to share with the group a small story of yourself and how you overcame that with your practice?
I'll start with something. It wasn't a major roadblock at all, but it was more so, obviously, growing up.
Yep.
I was surrounded by Sangat, surrounded by, very spiritual people, and
Yep.
that was the mainstay. When I first went to university, however, it was away from all of that. There wasn't many people of my particular community that I knew in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden I was surrounded by the other side of life that I hadn't experienced, a lot of alcohol, a lot of partying, which is not my thing. I never did any of it.
Yep.
But being surrounded by everyone that was doing things that was not my interest to do,
Yeah.
the way that I had to navigate that was to have a central point that I would go back to regularly to remind myself of who I was and what my path was. So you got your own meditation and stuff at home, but every weekend I would come back home to the Gurdwara again, and we were running the programs on Sundays when my dad was doing the Kirtan and stuff like that. And every Sunday, like without fail, pretty much 99% of the year, I would be there again at that program again, reminding myself and grounding myself back into the principles of who I am, where I've come from, where I want to be. So that external influence and that environment around me didn't pull me, because at times you get pulled even if you don't want to, and even if you know that's not your path. The Sangat that you're in will pull you in that direction, even if you try and resist it. Collectively, they'll pull you in that direction. There's more weight there, so I had to find that anchor that anchored me back down, and that was coming back to the Gurdwara, back to the temple, back into that program, back into doing Kirtan, back into that Sangat as regularly as I could, so that my values could be realigned, and even if I swayed, to push me back into that same path. And that navigated through that period of life where I was away from Sangat, but I didn't lose myself in the new Sangat, which I saw plenty of other people who came like me and went back home, cut their hair, drinking, eating meat, everything, because that's what the Sangat that they were in took them to. So there's no major point, no major like down point or anything, but it was just a change in my life that I had to get through, and I had to find a way to navigate that whilst not losing myself. So that was about it.
Beautiful, beautiful. And it's like in all my readings through all the different lineages and cultures, you hear about the ascetics and the householders, and walking in the world and all these different people and energies that we run in, and building businesses and going to school and communities. There's all these different energies. And what I love about what you're saying is return back to the core that grounds you back to that energy of the path, even though we walk in the world, and remembering where to come back to Sangat and come back into that beautiful energy and finding home back in it, in direction. It's beautiful. Thank you. Does anybody else have any stories to share about them walking the path that they think would be beneficial for everybody else to hear?
Share something.
Sure.
So often when I'll be meditating, it becomes a bit mechanical.
Yep.
I know I've set a time every single day. I'll do this amount of meditation, and it just became almost like a chore for me.
Yeah.
It's like a tick-box exercise where I'll sit and my mind will be constantly just thinking about the time. How long has passed?
Yeah.
I think just to echo what Amit Bhai was saying, it's getting that grounding of the Sangat again, which sort of helps light that flame again from within, and from that point you start to do meditation a bit more love, rather than it just being like a chore. So like Bhai was saying, I think Sangat is essential, so even being here for the past day or so, you start to develop that love again, for your meditation, for your practices.
We rise together.
Yeah.
Beautiful, thank you. I think we've all experienced that. Like we pick up these practices and it becomes mechanical at some point. We go through these ebbs and flows where it opens, and then we have to push through that resistance. And in the group, as we raise this vibration together, it's so apparent that we all rise together when we come into this community. It's beautiful. Surabjit and I were in the breakout group this morning, and we were talking with the group about self-love. And I'll share another experience of a practice that kind of changed for me. Along the path for me, it became very apparent that like one of these deals from being adopted was self-worth, like being worthy, like I'd shared you about. Now, I built businesses and built this beautiful facade of everything, but inside I didn't truly have the capacity for self-love. And I met these amazing teachers from Peru, actually, that were kind of teaching me about self-love. And it was the most uncomfortable thing, but like, how often do you guys actually give yourself self-love? Like, do you guys, when you think about self-love, like, what does that mean? And I didn't really know, like, the whole thing. One of the teachers had suggested naming, actually saying your name. So internally, like, Randy, I love you, good job today. And actually naming it. And when I thought of that idea, I was actually kind of resistant towards it. Like I didn't actually want to do it. It made me uncomfortable. But as I actually put in the effort of truly naming self-love, like in the moment of me doing something right, speaking to my nervous system, naming it and giving myself love, my nervous system began to relax and receive my own self-love. Then I was able to receive the praise and love of others. And then it gave me the courage enough to basically go hire these private investigators and go and seek and give love to my adopted parents, and then receive that love fully back and connect those bridges through the whole thing. So we were talking about what is self-love, and can we truly receive and give love before we love ourselves through the whole thing. So just understanding that that was a beautiful kind of learning and path that I touched as well in the journey. Anybody else have anything interesting?
I think on a personal basis, the general teachings that I was brought up with was, if you go to the Gurdwara, if you do your Simran, if you do Sangat, then the Guru will come. And thus, I think maybe a lot of this, it's a transactional relationship. I will do this, the Guru will do this. And this was all preached in the temples, and we grew with it. But there was a rude awakening when my father passed away. And then, when I had a heart attack, and then when I broke my hip, serious accident, and it challenged me. Who was supposed to look after me? Where is my Guru now? And everything that I thought that was conditioning my mind became a big stumbling question. To the point, I was so angry we had a good grandson in our house. I refused him to do the same. Why was it? Because the way we were brought up, we would look after him. But nobody actually understood the scriptures in a way that I could sail through these obstacles. And that became a very difficult journey for me. My faith was challenged, and then furthermore people would come. I remember I was sitting in the back room, somebody came to see me, another Sikh. He said to me, "So where's your Baba you now? If your Baba you was so powerful, why did you look after me?" So it was just one attack after another of my heart. And then I met Baba in my life. And it was in that point that when I started listening to him, I really began to understand what Guruji is teaching us, the strength Guruji was giving us, the fortitude to go through these battles, and understanding which was beyond anything I'd ever received from anywhere in the past. It was all about numbers, Amrit Vela, what time do you get up, how long did you get the name, blah 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 blah. He began to rip everything apart. He unconditioned everything. And a new teaching was superimposed upon me, which when I was diagnosed with cancer, had no effect. And for the first time, I realized, hey, the teachings I was getting from half-educated people who just read about the path, they haven't Completely false. And I thought to myself, how many other people must be affected? And how will their faith be affected in the long run if there is a calamity after calamity after calamity in their lives? But that time was a very challenging time. I did Philippines, and I'd go to Germany, I'd go to Scotland, everywhere. I would go at my own expense. I would not give them, not take anything off the stage. Even as a student, I'd be with the saints. And I fought it as I'm not going to go to the clubs. I was in London, my father wasn't there, and I made an active choice. I stayed with the Sangat, I stayed with the Simran. But when my life got hard, everything, Guru will look after you, Guru will look after you. Well, I'm not being looked after. It was a misunderstanding. It was a misteaching. So, I think in reflection now, what we are trying to do here, I guess, is that these questions will arise at some point. But if these doubts arise at the very last moment of your life, then you're doomed. You cannot afford to have these questions then. And in this Sangat, with these teachings, what you're doing today, the approach is trying to understand the teachings of the Divine Masters in such a way that they actually are supportive in our day-to-day lives. And this is something I think we should all try to endeavor and try to comprehend.
Yeah.
Because the teachings is always of faith, when the faith gets tested. And in my case, it was devastating. Absolutely devastating. You get broken in everything. Your relationship with the divine, your relationship with your sin, and your relationship with yourself. And with new understanding, when Bhai came into my life, the understanding he infused over time was way beyond anything ever seen from him. So, Sangat, I guess, the power of a higher soul who understands it. Who understands this.
Beautiful, Bhaji. When I first met Bhaji, I'd been, if you were to go in my room to this day, it's like books and books and books from all the lineages around the world, from yogis to from Tibet to the Zens, everything. I was just reading and reading and reading, and I was intellectualizing everything. And the first thing that Bhaji said to me as he looked at me, he said, "Okay, put your books down. Start doing." You know what I mean? And that was it. He took like all of, similar to your story, like all the intellectualized kind of practices and everything. I wasn't actually practicing and taking it all inward. I'd like read everything and I understood the books, but I didn't have the practice, nor the group, the Sangat, to talk about it, to go in, a place to be of service, everything. And I thank you deeply for redirecting me to that. So thank you, Bhaji. Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Here in our tradition, we don't like sharing that identity.
Yeah.
We find it a weakness.
Mm.
So we don't like to share. There's some sort of innate fear within us.
Mm.
And I think when last time we came to your place and we were sharing with each other, so we said something so different.
Mm.
So different to be able to share your problems.
I truly think that my experience is deep connections come out of vulnerability. Support from the world only comes when the world can see us, when we actually allow the world and the people that love us to see the problems is when they can come meet us. Even in the world in general, when we acknowledge what we have internally and we're in touch with that vulnerability is when the unseen support starts to come around us. So that's the point of the conversation here, is to see that no matter how we are, where we are in life, we've all experienced trials and tribulations. We've all met the challenges and met them in our own way. And I don't see it as weakness, the whole thing. In building my company, for many years I had an ego. I was the best at everything. I wanted to run everything. I had every process. I controlled everything. I had my finger in every person. I was micromanaging everybody. My business got successful, but then it hit a point where it wouldn't scale anymore because I had my fingers in every person, everything. I had my ego running everything else like that. Then I realized that I had to let go of the whole thing, and I had to let the world and the people support me. I asked the question of what was serving me, what was actually good, what did I need to let go, what was I good at, what did I do naturally that didn't require effort. How do I start letting people surround me that lifted me? So, early Sangat in my business before I met a thing. And, to empower the Sangat has to be able to see you, feel you, understand you, so they can surround you, connect with you, and uplift you. So one of the first things that I do in any one of my deep friendships is allow myself to be seen. I am an open book. You can ask about anything. I will show you everything, every strength, every weakness. And in that, I know that when I do that and open the book, you can meet me. Meet me in my strengths where I can give, and meet me in my weaknesses where we can support each other. And that visibility for my dear friend over there, River, who we've known for many years, is something that we do on a regular basis. We meet, we show each other everything, and we support each other the best way that we can. An experience of that and loss is when I lost my mother. I was in my mid-30s, and I'd never experienced depression before. I'd always had a positive mind that was telling me I could build everything, do everything, and it did. I built all sorts of wonderful things around the world. When I lost her, it went dark for the first time. And I didn't know what to do. It started saying, we can't do this. Why are we here? I never experienced that before. And it went all the way down to, why are we here? And that got scary. What do you mean, why are we here? What are you talking about, right? And then in that kind of experience, I had a visceral spiritual awakening when I separated from that dark mind. And the energy of that was kind of released into me. And I went through this process, and I was going through a very deep experience that I didn't know how to explain to anybody at the time. River had been traveling the world, meeting different cultures and working through his spirituality. He was in the hospital in Santa Barbara with an appendix that had burst, and I went to go visit him in the hospital. And I told him about, he was the only person, because I had the same thing that Baji was talking about. I was raised in a family where the speaking in vulnerability was weakness. So I would hide it and show strength on the outside and look strong through the outside. But in reality, all I was doing was blocking everybody from helping me. So I go to the hospital, and I'm sitting with River in his hotel bed, hospital bed, and I finally throw the flag in. I'm like, okay, here's what's happening with my mind. It's gone dark. I've hit depression for the first time. I don't know what to do, the whole thing. River looks at me and he says, he thinks about it for a minute, or he might have called me back the day after. And he says, I'm moving in with you. I said, excuse me? So him and his wife at the time moved in with me, and they stayed with me for a month. He woke me up every morning at 6 o'clock, dragged me out of bed, made me do breathwork meditation. He changed my diet over to vegan, and he spent an entire month putting me back together. And then after he'd put me back together, he left. It was one of the greatest acts of kindness that I've ever seen in my entire life. Now, that would have never happened unless I was strong enough to be vulnerable with him, to allow him to see me in my weakness, and then allow him to come and be of service to me through the whole thing. So it's just the power of vulnerability unlocks the power of the Sangat. Yeah.
There's one other piece to that puzzle. Because when I'm in that hospital bed, he comes and he tells me that he's going through this really depressive moment in his life. I get that hit. You hear this internal dialogue. Oh, go and move in with him. And in that moment, you also have to surrender, and you have to listen to that. It's like, why would I ever do that? I have a burst appendix. They're trying to do surgery, right? And I'm going to go and support somebody else when I need physical support myself. But for me, I was in a state of full surrender. So I just chose to listen to that directive, and it's one of those, like you said, it just strengthened our relationship even further, and invigorated us to move towards this path even today. That's why we're
led us here today.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it takes two to tango. You know, you have to listen and then apply. You have to do it. So,
Do, yeah.
Just do it.
And then once I unlocked that kind of code in my life, it was unbelievable what happened after that. So not only did I apply it to my friendships, I started applying it to my business, and everything began to rise to different levels that I could have never imagined before. The glass ceiling of me in that began to disappear. And then, you know, in the Sangat, it's on a completely different level. There's the material world of the vulnerability and allowing things to come, and then there's the deeper path of the spiritual alignment. And I talk with Baji about this, is like the silent teachings, the vibration of just being in each other's presence, as each one of us goes through these amazing growth spurts and raise our vibration, that we all rise together in the Sangat. I believe that still requires the vulnerability as well, and allowing yourself to be seen, whether it's the words that meet you or just the unconditional love and support and presence of the energy of someone in the high vibration that meets you and rises you, that occurs. But part of that is allowing yourself to be ready to be healed and elevated, which is that vulnerability. So I've changed in the years, and I hope this perspective encourages you guys to take a different perspective, at least in safe places. You don't need to do this everywhere. It's not safe everywhere, you know, the whole thing. And actually in leadership, I struggled too. I'm like, if I show up as the leader of this company and be vulnerable, is it actually gonna, you know, be better as a leader? And the answer is yes, in certain situations. But in this Sangha, it's important to make sure that we have safety, psychological safety, spiritual safety, and everything so we can allow ourselves to be seen, supported, and uplifted. And as you are getting uplifted, there'll be a time where you're elevated and you'll get the chance to uplift somebody else. And we all keep going up together in that whole thing. So that's it in terms of the whole thing. I want to lead you guys just through some 3 practices that were important for me. So I have to public speak a lot. I told you about my time during COVID. The 3 practices that I do for that are just 2 different breath practices. One brings energy into the system. Another slows down the heart. I use it for negotiations and public speaking. So I want to teach you guys that as like practical things to you guys use in your life. And then I'd just like to close with some Simran altogether, because those are the 3 components of like when life is coming at me really hard and I need to normalize my nervous system. I'll teach you guys how I do it. And then today, the subtler practices are what keep taking me deeper and deeper and deeper. I would love to share that with you guys as well. So if anybody else has anything that they want to share before we do it, this is the floor. If you want to be vulnerable, this is the place to do it. I encourage you. So before we go into it, is anybody brave enough to be vulnerable about some challenge that they've had and some way that they met it?
I actually want to say something. I'm very glad to be here, by the way. And I didn't know, like I was telling you before, I didn't know I was going to end up in London, out of all places, in a spiritual retreat when I started traveling 2 months ago. And just by being vulnerable, first off, with myself, because sometimes that's the thing, you think being vulnerable is just about being vulnerable with other people. But the first person you have to be vulnerable with sometimes is yourself, and remove that mask that you have to be strong, and you know, show everybody that you have to be strong. And I remember when I was coming here in the plane, I was just writing all these things, and I usually don't cry. I hate crying in public, and I was just bawling my eyes in the plane as I was writing, like how much I needed to find like peace within myself, and I felt a little bit lost, and part of this trip was to find myself. And I asked like the universe to, you know, show me the way, to show me maybe the people, so that I could like learn how to meditate and be at peace with myself. And literally 1 week after I arrived in the US, I go to Santa Barbara, I meet Randy, I meet River, he's just talking, and then I meet Baji, and then everything changed. And also by being vulnerable with everybody, and allowing myself also to be open to see everybody else, is that right now that I continue this journey, I'm able to connect with more and more people in a spiritual way. And then the more you do it, the more you also meet other people that are there to offer help and their hand. And that has allowed me to come all the way here and continue this beautiful journey. And you know, I don't think the person that left Cartagena is the same person that is sitting with you right now. And like, as I was talking to River before, I feel like I have to reintroduce myself moving forward, because it keeps evolving, obviously, and changing. And you know, so that's my story of self-love. It's been vulnerable first with me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you everybody for sharing, connecting, and I just encourage you guys to allow yourself to be seen so that you can experience the unconditional love and support of this entire Sangat. With that, I'd like to lead you guys through some practices real quick. I have to do public speaking and negotiation a lot, and no matter how many times I do it, I still have almost a panic attack every time. So I'm going to teach you how I deal with this entire thing. So interesting thing, a connection about the breath and the heart that you may or may not know. When you breathe in, your heart rate speeds up. When you breathe out, your heart rate slows down. How many people knew that? Okay, so just a few. So now think about that for a second. So if you're becoming stressed and I'm about to go on a stage and speak, that means that my heart rate is speeding up, right? And I want to take my heart rate down so that I can relax and get on the stage and speak, right? Except I need to do it in a way that I can, people don't look at me weird through the whole thing, right? So I'm going to teach you a trick. It's a very simple breath that slows your heart rate down. So if we know that we breathe in and our heart rate speeds up, and we breathe out and our heart rate slows down, you can think of ratios, right? So that means that if I'm breathing in less than I'm breathing out, or I'm breathing out more than I'm breathing in, that means that I'm slowing my heart rate down more than I'm speeding it up. So that means a very simple breath where we breathe in a little bit and we breathe out a lot slows down the heart rate. And if you know that, and you can do about 6 breaths of that, you can take your heart rate that's speeding up and then slow it back down. And it's a wonderful way to fall back asleep in the middle of the night as well. So I'm going to teach you guys that now. So what I want you guys to do is close your eyes. I want you to put your hand on your heart, on your chest. And I just want you to connect with your breath right now. We're not going to go into the breath. I just want you to take your lens inward. I want you to feel gravity pulling you into the ground, connect with your body, the sensations of your body. I want you to feel your hand on your chest, feel the warmth of your hand connecting to your chest. And I want you to become aware of your breath going in and out of your nose. So just feeling the sensation of the air coming in and out of your nose as you just connect back in with your senses inward. I want you to exhale your lungs all the way. I want you to breathe in through the nose. At the top of the breath, I want you to take one extra sip. Now I want you to breathe out of the nose as slow as you possibly can, dribbling the air out of your nose as slow as you possibly can. And when you hit the bottom of your breath and there's no more air left in your lungs, I want you to take your hand off your heart. Everybody has different lung capacity. Just try to take it as long as you can. Slowly exhaling. Good. Now everybody with your hand back on your heart, start again. We're going to practice this again. Now I want you to play a game here. I want you to see if you can extend your exhale a little bit longer than you did last time. So everybody exhaling your lungs all the way. Breathing in through the nose. One extra sip. Out and exhaling through the nose as long as you can. Taking your hand down off your heart when you breathe all your air out of your lungs. Good. We're going to go through a few more of these. Each time that we do this, we're slowing down the heart. So exhaling your lungs all the way. Breathing in through the nose. One extra sip. Exhaling through the nose. Breathing back in through the nose. One sip. Exhaling through the nose. Breathing in through the nose. Sip. Exhale through the nose. Slowly exhaling through the nose. Breathing in through the nose. Sip. Slowly out through the nose. And final one, breathing in through the nose. Sip. Exhaling through the nose as long as you can. And I want you to take this all the way till there's no more air in your lungs. And just keeping your eyes closed for a second. It takes 6 breaths to change the nervous system. If you ever need to slow down your heart, if you're in a place where if you have panic attacks, this is the opposite of a panic attack. This will actually take you out of a panic attack. If you're going into a situation, a negotiation, speaking, anything that takes you into anxiety or anything else like that, just know that that pattern of the breath, inhaling through the nose, little extra sip, and a long exhale 6 times will take your nervous system and flip it around. So it's a tool that you can practice. The more that you do it, the more that you gain control of your nervous system. So it's a practice around the whole thing. And you'll find that it's really beautiful to lead into Simran as well. So you set your nervous system before going in. So that's how to slow down. Now after lunch, you probably want a little bit of energy, so I'm going to teach you the other way. We're going to teach you how to speed up. So what I want you guys to do is lay down on your mats for a second. Okay, so as we do this breath, you may feel warmth. You may feel warmth, you may feel tingling in your skin, you may feel different sensations. All of that's totally normal. The deeper that you breathe in this breath, the deeper that you go into the breath around the whole thing. And this is going to put a lot of oxygen into the system, kind of wake you up for the whole thing. So breathe at whatever capacity that you guys are comfortable with. Listen to your body, okay? And just listen to my voice and we'll guide through it. You don't need to memorize anything, just listen to my voice. So let's exhale our lungs all the way. All the air out of your lungs. Pursing your lips like you have a straw in your mouth. And breathing in through the mouth. Out through the mouth. In through the mouth. Out through the nose. In through the nose. Out through the nose. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the mouth. Out through the mouth. In through the mouth. Out through the nose. In through the nose. Out through the nose. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the mouth. Out through the mouth. In through the mouth. Out through the nose. In through the nose. Out through the nose. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the mouth. Out through the mouth. In through the mouth. Out through the nose. In through the mouth. Out through the nose. Big in through the mouth. 2 sips. Exhale your lungs all the way. Hold your breath at the bottom. Hold your breath at the bottom of the exhale. And in this retention, I want you to relax your body. Relax into the retention. Notice any tension that you're holding into your body right now. The second time that your mind tells you need a breath, I want you to take a big inhale through the mouth, and then again, retain your breath at the top of the inhale. So just listening to your body right now and taking a big breath when you're ready. Good. When you take that big inhale, just pausing and holding your breath there for a second. Let's go ahead and release the breath. Good. We're going to go through 2 more sequences of these. We're putting all this oxygen and energy into your system, waking up after lunch. So exhaling your lungs all the way. In through the mouth. Out through the mouth. In through the mouth. Out through the nose. In through the nose. Out through the nose. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the mouth. Out through the mouth. In through the mouth. Out through the nose. In through the nose. Out through the nose. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. 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 Nose. 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 Mouth. 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 Nose. 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 Mouth. Big inhale. 2 sips. Exhale, then hold your breath. Exhaling your lungs all the way, holding your breath. I want you to hold your breath here as long as you can. Relaxing anywhere you can in your body, feeling like you're sinking slowly into the ground in that deep relaxation. Everybody taking a big inhale. 2 sips. Scanning the body from the feet to your abdomen and just finding relaxation as that oxygen is coming back into your body. And then releasing the breath. Good. Heading into our final round. Exhaling your lungs all the way. Mouth. 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 Nose. 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 Mouth. 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 Big inhale, 2 sips. Exhaling and holding your breath. I want you to stay in this breath retention as long as you can, waiting until the second time that your mind tells you you need a breath. And only when you hear that second call for a breath, taking a big inhale and holding your breath again at the top. Relaxing deeply into the body, allowing it to sink into the ground. Allowing that oxygen to permeate the deep parts of your muscle, feeling that energy coming back into the body. Anybody in the first retention, let's go ahead and inhale. 2 sips. Let's go ahead and exhale. I want everybody to pause for a second and just notice the state of your body, what it feels like. State of your mind, what it feels like. State of your emotions, what it feels like as you bring in that fresh oxygen and energy to your body, what it feels like. Making the connection between the breath and the body. And when you're ready, coming up to a seated position. Okay, now we're going to combine the practices. We're going to take an intentional breath and combine it with Waheguru. The first breath that we did was breathing out longer than we were breathing in. So what is that going to do to our heart rate? Slow it down. Slowing it down is going to bring us into a deeper state of presence, right? From the entire thing. So we're going to practice the mantra with an intentional breath of a quick breathing in, Wahe, and a slow and intentional Guru, longer, right? So we're going to slow down our heart rate with Simran right now, intentionally, whole thing. So let's go ahead and do it together. So everybody, exhaling your lungs all the way. Breathing in, Guru. In, out, Guru. Breathing in, Wahe. Guru. Wa. Guru. And coming back to normal breath. Just taking a second to turn the lens inward and feel your heart. And just know that with this knowledge now, you can come into the practice. And if you're feeling a stressful day, any tensions from anything in life, the simple ratio of in to out combined with the Waheguru will slow down your heart, slow down your body, and allow you to connect back in. So take that as a practice away today, so that maybe in your life as an obstacle comes, you can use that as a tool to slow down, connect back with yourself, and connect with the practice. And just remembering that in any time of trial or tribulation, that the Sangat's here to allow yourself to be seen, to be vocalized, allows us to meet you, to hold you and support you. So thank you for your time today and listening and sharing. I appreciate all of you.